All right, guys. So today is the last lesson of chapter 7. Okay. So you will chapter review and then you will take a test. Today's easy. It's solving and writing two-step inequalities. We're really not going to focus on the writing part because they really can't test you on that on the STAR test. They could give you a word problem and then give you a list of some inequalities and have you pick it out. So you'll kind of have that in your quizzes. But as far as making you write out inequalities, I'm not going to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take what we've learned with solving two-step equations and then what we know about solving inequalities. You remember if we bring a negative, if we multiply one side by negative, or if we bring it across or divide by negative, then the inequality flips. All right, so I think today will be easy. I don't think it'll be hard. You're just going to take what you know, put it together. We're just adding a step to what we already know how to do. All right, guys, so here is our inequality. 4x minus 3 is less than 9. We don't have a line under this, so we know that our circle is going to be an open circle. It's not going to be colored in. It's only colored in if we have the equal sign underneath it or half of the equal sign. If it was less than or equal to, okay? All right, so our goal is to isolate x, right? That's our goal when we have a variable. So what I want to do is get rid of everything that's not immediately touching it, like not super touching it. Well, the 4 is super touching that x, so I'm going to get rid of this 3. So I'm going to add 3 here, okay? And by adding 3 here, I've got to come over here and add 3 here, which makes that 12. Okay, so now we have 4x is less than or equal to 12. So now I want to divide by 4 because I'm going to do the opposite. And the 4 is touching the x like so. So that means they're multiplying. So we're going to divide, and that's going to be 1. And I'm going to come over here and divide. And we know that x is less than 3. So I'm going to come down here on 3, and I'm going to put a non-colored in circle, and my line is going to be going this way. And I know that, well, that because all of these are less than 3. 2 is less than 3, 1 is less than 3, 0 is less than 3, and negative 1 is less than 3. So if you have a question about this problem, please raise your hand so I can help you. All right, second example. We have negative 3x plus 2 is less than or equal to 17. Okay, so since I have this on here, my circle is going to be colored in when I plot it down here, okay? Because it means it's going to include that number and anything less than that. Okay, so again, my goal is to get x by itself. We want to isolate x, so we got to get rid of the things that aren't touching it as super close first. So 2 is not touching the 3x super close. It is touching it, but it's not super close. So we want to get rid of the distant relatives first. All right, so we're going to subtract 2. All right, now, since I'm subtracting 2, this is not negative 2, I'm subtracting 2. I'm going to come over here and subtract 2. All right, so now we have negative 3x is less than or equal to 17 minus 2 is 15, okay? Now, I need to get rid of this negative 3. I need to get it away from the x, correct? So I'm going to divide by negative 3 because negative 3 divided by negative 3 is a positive 1. And we know that anything times 1 is itself. So 1 times x is going to be just x, okay? And it's positive. So, but if I divide this side by negative 3, I'm carrying this over. I've got to divide this side by negative 3, but this now has to flip, okay? Because I carried a negative over, or I'm dividing by negative, okay? All right, so 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. So x is greater than or equal to negative 5. So that means since I have my variable on the left side, my arrow, my line is going to be going in this direction. So I'm going to color in negative 5, and my line is going to go this way. So any of these numbers forever will satisfy this. So negative 3 times negative 4 is going to be, negative 3 times negative 4 is going to be positive 12, and 12 plus 2 is 14. And we know that 14 is less than 17. Okay, so if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll do one more example, and then you got to do this on your own. So on this next one, if you haven't already done it, practice doing it on your own. So when I write it, when you see me writing it, pause the video, write the inequality out, and practice on your own trying to solve it. See if you get it right. If you don't, it's okay. It's practicing without penalties before you get a penalty. A penalty would be like doing your quizzes and getting it wrong. We want to make sure that we can do it before we start doing the actual graded assignment. All right, last example. So make sure that you write this example down and try it on your own. Negative 3x minus 3 is greater than 12. And then you can just draw this number line. It's kind of a cheat, so you know it's got to be in between here somewhere. So pause and try this on your own first. Welcome back, because I know you all paused this. Okay, well, I hope you did. The proof will be in the pudding when I get those quizzes grades. All right, so here we go. We want to isolate x. We want to get x by itself. That's our goal. It's always our goal to get something darker because this is not showing up, is it? Okay, so I want to get rid of the distant relatives first, the ones that are not super close to the negative 3x, which is minus 3. So in order to get rid of minus 3, I have to add 3 because minus 3 plus 3 is 0, okay? And that's what we want, okay? And here's another thing I just want to throw out there, and it may confuse you, and I hope it doesn't, but we never want this to be 0 because if this is 0, 0 times x is 0 because anything times 0 is 0. So if you're talking about multiplying the coefficient for a variable, the number in front of the variable needs to be 1 because 1 times anything is itself. Okay, so I hope that kind of makes sense a little bit. If it doesn't, just ask me. I can try to explain it better. All right, so I'm adding 3 here. So I've got to add 3 over here, and we know 12 plus 3 is 15. So we have negative 3x is greater than 15, okay? So right now, I will need to get rid of this negative 3x. This is just like what we just did. So I'm going to divide by negative 3, and negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1, which is what we want because 1 times x is x, okay? All right, so now we have just x. Now, if I divide this side by negative 3, I've got to divide this side by negative 3. And since I'm bringing over a negative, my inequality is going to now flip. And 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. All right, so we also know that since there's not a line under it, it's an open circle. So I'm going to go to negative 5 and put an open circle on it. And I know that my line is going to go this way. So I hope that helps you. If the line part, if you get confused by that, you can just know that x is less than negative 5. So any number less than negative 5 will satisfy this inequality. So hopefully you guys did it right. If you didn't, raise your hand, ask me, I will come help, okay?